The Leeds Architecture Awards, we run them every other year. So it gives architects, developers, property owners a couple of years running to come up with some really good proposals. So this year, earlier in the year, we invited proposals to come forward. And then over the course of the summer, they were assessed in a two-stage process. So it's quite a rigorous process. And then we've ended up in the last couple of weeks with a shortlist of about a dozen schemes that will go forward to the awards ceremony, which takes place on the 6th of November at the House Assembly Room. So it's been a few months in the making, but we're really excited at the crop of proposals we have this year. There are four main categories. So we have a category which is buildings above £10 million in construction value. So you can imagine, the larger tower blocks, that sort of thing. We then have buildings below 10 million. So that could be anything from a single house to a community centre, something smaller in scale. We then have a scheme specifically to focus on public realm, and this year for the first time that also includes sculpture, and in fact we've had some really good entries in sculptural form. And then the final category is looking at existing buildings and converting those buildings, reusing those buildings. We have a lot of those in Leeds, of course. The category for public realm and sculpture, we have the wonderful Hibiscus Rising over near the Tetley building. But then we also have the Ribbons sculpture, which is, of course, on Quarry Hill. Buildings with a construction value of more than 10 million include the Scape student tower block, which I think is the tallest tower block in the city at the moment, next to the Marion Centre. A very striking building, so that's a very interesting one. We had other tower blocks submitted as well in the same area, another student scheme, a little bit different in design. And then for the schemes below 10 million, we had a couple of interesting schemes, including a scheme at Carmanor High School, a community stroke school building, which is actually made out of containers. Very interesting as well. And then the final category, reusing buildings, we had some really interesting submissions there. So a couple of examples of those would be Calverley Old Hall, a very interesting building that was restored by the Landmark Trust to reveal an Elizabethan frieze. So that was one of the entries there. And then the other one that I would mention is the Hyde Park Picture House. Very familiar building to lots of people, recently extended, recently restored. That was another example from that category. So, others I could mention as well, but, it's actually a very high quality crop this year, and it's going to be very hard to decide on the winners, I think.